And we are back. We are cruising through the onboarding flow. The last video, we created the onboarding color view and the onboarding intro view. And in this video, we're going to finish up the onboarding flow with the onboarding completed view. So here's a version of the actual final product. I'm going to select the green color for my profile color, click continue, and go to the onboarding completed view, which is this view here. We can see that the green color that I selected is actually the color of this text, which is a nice UI implementation that I think users might notice. And then we're going to click finish, and then we should move back into the application. Let's go ahead and finish that up real quick. Let's go to the onboarding completed view, which we already started. Let's close the navigator and open up the canvas. So just like we did in the last video, I'm going to move the continue button, the CTA button, into the safe area inset. So let's add the safe area inset at the bottom here. We'll go bottom, and we will open up in the content. I will put in this button. It looks the exact same, but at least it's out of the VStack. This VStack, let's make some text here that says setup complete. And let's add another text that says we've set up, looks like I have a typo in this. We've set up your profile and you are ready to start chatting. Nice little message to the user who just went through your onboarding flow. Let's get rid of this max frame. I'm going to make this a font with a large title. Let's give this a font weight of semi-bold so it's a little thicker. And let's give it a foreground style of accent for 1 second. Let's give this a font of title so it's a little bit smaller than the top one, and a font weight of medium so it's just slightly less thick. And then lastly, we're going to give this a foreground style of secondary so we have that nice gray. Let's align these alignment to the leading edge, and we'll give them spacing of 12. Alignment. This VStack, let's give it a frame with a max height of infinity. And let's actually change the padding down here to 24 so that it's a little bit more pushed off the edges of the device. When we initialize the onboarding completed view, so when we move from the previous view to this current view, I want to pass in the selected color that the user had from the last screen. So let's create an initializer here. We'll pass in a selected color of type color. I'll give it a default value of orange for now. We'll make the selected color the color of our title here. Just to prove that the initializer is working and that it's overridable, I'm going to come down to our preview here where we can create that initializer. And I should have the selected color option, and let's give this maybe I chose the mint color. And now it's mint. Going to here, create a private var and call this the CTA button of type some view. I'm going to put my CTA button down there. And then last but not least, I want to add a little bit of UI. When we actually click this finish button, I want to save the selected color to the user's profile. Now, there's a lot of logic that we're going to have to do before we actually get to the user's profile. We haven't set up our database. We don't have user profiles yet. But while I'm building it at this point in time, I can basically assume that the process of saving the color to the user's profile is going to be an asynchronous process. It's going to hit the backend, save the data, and then return a success. And after that is successful, we're going to update the root state into the application. So I would assume that the method for saving the user profile is going to be asynchronous. So it's going to end up looking something closer to this, where let's have a task. And then here we're going to do something like try await. For now, we'll just say save user profile, and it's going to pass in a color with the selected color. Obviously, we don't have this method yet, so I'm just going to comment it out. But after that's completed, we would then go and update the root view state. So for now, as we're just building this app, I'm going to instead here just put a delay, try await, task.sleep. Let's sleep for seconds, maybe 3 seconds, and then we will update the root view state. So the reason I'm doing this now is because I want to add a little bit of UI to this screen for when we click the finish button and it is still in the process of saving. Let's show a loading indicator to the user. So at the top here, we'll do an @state private var. is completing profile setup of type bool equals false to start. And then we will, when we start this process, we will set this equal to true. And then when it finishes saving, we'll set it equal to false. So when I click this, I want to change the UI of this screen real quick. So what I'm going to do is take the label here and let's put it into a Z stack. We'll put the call to action button on the whole Z stack and we'll say if is completing profile setup. Let's put a progress view here and we'll give this a tint of white and then we'll say else. So if it's not, we'll keep our normal text that says finish. So now if I click this, I get a loading indicator and then it should segue. If I click it and it's loading still, I don't want to click it multiple times because then it might save to the database like 10 times and that might cause a bug. So let's just add on the button a .disabled and we'll disable it if is completing profile setup is true. Cool. I'll delete this comment here and this looks pretty good. Let's copy the name of the onboarding completed view and let's go to the color view. And in our color view, when we come down here, let's go to the onboarding completed view and we will pass in the selected color. Now this is a private variable, but we want to change this to a function so that we can pass in a parameter for the selected color. So I'm going to make this a function that will return some view. We'll pass in a color, selected color of type color. And I'll pass in the selected color here. And now when we create our CTA button, we will pass in our selected color, which we already have our if-let statement in place. Let's check it out real quick. If I run the preview here, I'm going to select the orange color. Let's go forward. And we have a crash because the environment object in our onboarding completed view requires the app state. So let's go back to our onboarding color view. Let's put the app state on the entire navigation stack here. Let's reload the canvas. And let's click the orange button and go forward. And now we have the orange here. Awesome. Let's build and run this to a simulator, see what it looks like so far. So I'm going to build and run it to an actual simulator. All right, we have our get started. Let's move into the first screen here. Here's the final version. And we just want to make sure that it's the exact same. You will notice that the back button is displaying here. So we could keep the back button in. There's no problem with that. But personally, I like to force the users to always move forward in the onboarding flow. I don't want users like wasting time or spending time going back and forth deciding what color they want to pick. I'd rather just get them into the core app as fast as possible. That's just a personal preference. So let's actually go and hide the back button on all of these screens here. So that it just looks like this. We'll hide the nav bar completely so the user has less buttons to click and is always moving forward. Let's go to the onboarding intro view. I'm going to add down here we'll look for the toolbar and we want the visibility completion here. We'll say .hidden for the navigation bar. And copy that. Let's go to the color view and paste that at the bottom of the body for the color view as well. And as well as for the completed view, let's paste it at the bottom of the body. Build and run this to the simulator. I'm going to Command R to build and run. Check it one more time. AI chat app is starting to come together now. Let's get started. Let's go in. Let's select a color, maybe the purple color. Let's go to our onboarding complete. That looks great. And we'll finish. And it should move us into our application after 3 seconds. And voila. In the actual version of our app, it's going to look just like this. And then we're going to move into the actual Explore screen. In the next video, we're going to start actually building out the tab bar screens, including this Explore screen here. Let's wrap up this video by Option Command C. Let's do a feature and we'll say onboarding completed view. Completed view. Let's stage all, let's commit, let's push it up to GitHub. Our app is really coming together. You guys are doing a great job. We have the root of our app set up and now we have our onboarding flow set up and now we can actually jump into the core app and start building the core screens. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video.